Hello, my name is Marlene, and thank you in advance for listening to my pitch presentation about A Bloke with Amnesia. This was one of the game ideas that I came up with during the brainstorming lab using the random word generator, and I liked the two words that came up that were bloke and amnesia. It got me thinking, I wonder what it would be like to play as a character with amnesia, but how exactly would I simulate the amnesia if the player is oftentimes this omnipotent being? Well, maybe the player could play as this bloke who is constantly forgetting what he is doing, and it's the player's job to help this poor guy get through his day and help him remember what he's supposed to be doing. The mechanics of this game largely revolve around the idea that the player knows just as little about what the bloke is supposed to be doing as he does. So, levels all begin with no clear objective in mind. The plan is to have at least 4 levels of different settings. The bloke's home in the morning, at work, going out for lunch, and the bloke's home in the evening. More levels can be added as time provides. Within each of these levels, the scene will load up and the bloke will prompt the player by saying, "What was I doing again?" And no further objectives will be immediately clear. For the very first level, basic instructions on how to move and interact with the world will be given. The player will then go around and interact with objects in the environment, which will prompt the bloke to give feedback on those objects. For instance, in the first level at the bloke's home in the morning, the player might interact with the dog bowl and say something like, "I don't think I fed the dog yet." They will continue playing the level until they have interacted with the correct objects to help jog the bloke's memory. The first level, for example, will not let the player leave until they interact with the bloke's car keys, and he will say, "Oh yeah, I came back inside to get my keys." If the player ever gets stuck, there will always be at least one NPC in the level that will help give the player a hint. In level 1, the bloke's wife will be there to say something like, "Did you make sure you have everything you need for work?" There's going to be 3 levels of hints that the NPCs will give, with the first one being the most vague and then the last one being the most obvious. Besides that, the game contains very basic controls for movement and the ability to interact with objects when they walk near them. So what can the player do? The player can interact with various objects in the world to get feedback from the bloke as to what significance they hold. In each level, there is going to be something that can be interacted with that will give the player a chance to say, "Yes, perform the task," or "No, do not perform the task." Some of these tasks include things like watering a houseplant, feeding the dog, cleaning some laundry, or sending an email, and so on. Doing some of these tasks multiple times will result in certain feedback from the bloke, such as, "Oh, the plant has died from being drowned. The dog looks fat. There's a lot of laundry to do. Oh, they said I already sent that information to them," etc. On the other hand, not doing these tasks may prompt other feedback as well, such as, "The plant looks dry and dead. The dog is skinny. The house looks great. Oh, they're mad at me for not responding," and so on. The game is mechanically really simple to implement with easy to program controls. The parts of the game that will take the most work to develop are the many different interactable objects, the feedbacks, and keeping track of how many times a player chooses to do a task. The game is linear, so programming in multiple endings is unnecessary. There is a great amount of freedom that this game allows graphically, as it can be done in something as simple as text-based game, all the way up to full 3D environments. The number of levels is highly flexible as well, with potential to add more than just a day's worth in the life of the bloke. So this game is pretty easy, it's very flexible, everything is easy for us to work with. Thank you for listening to my pitch about A Bloke with Amnesia. I hope that you will consider it to be your next project to bring to life. Thanks.